I have an interesting question for this asking Ray for this to talk on Royal Seas water stripings in Calvin Atlantic. On the top there, we have a filter which contains liquid. Just the fueling, so there's no silica from here. Now, when you start the bike up and you twist the throttle, all that does is it opens a tap. Now this inside is a motorcycle, so it has two water wheels. But what those taps do is they pour the fuel onto those water wheels, turning them round inside. Those go through a series of pumps and pulleys and chains, and eventually make the rear wheel spin. Now what's different about Royal Enfield motorcycles is to give you the impression that the motorcycle is travelling through the landscape. As the wheel turns, it actually rotates the earth, pushing the earth away from it and making the wheel turn. The motorcycle stays still, but you still get the same impression that the bike is moving through the landscape.
Look at the car.
Yup. Right, I finally got hold of one of these here Shotgun 650s from Royal Enfield for a 2-week trial. Now, this gives me the opportunity to do a series of videos on this bike, not just one in-depth review, although obviously I will be doing that. It also gives me the opportunity to answer any questions or commonly reoccurring questions that might crop up about this bike. But first of all, what I thought I would do in this video is an in-depth walk around to examine most of the common components on the bike, to give a prospective owner a better idea of what the bike is all about. Royal Enfield announced this bike last November to probably one of the greatest Royal Enfield fanfares I've ever seen. A lot of effort had been put into its launch. But when Siddhartha Lal finally walked onto the stage to present the bike, he seemed a little bit coy about what this bike actually is. I saw the resemblance straight away, but he didn't say the words. And no one said the words since, which has left me in doubt about my judgment. That is, until I have actually got my hands on one to touch it, feel it and smell it. The Shotgun 650 is very probably the most important model that Royal Enfield have launched in recent years, because this is the 21st century version of the Bullet. Everything is there. Royal Enfield's customer base in India is a very traditional mindset. Every bike that Royal Enfield brought out until recent years has been judged by the 1954 or 1953 version of the Bullet that was originally brought into the country, and they don't take kindly to change. So to that end, for the most part, they had to leave the Bullet alone. It had to stay as it was. Royal Enfield couldn't develop that bike in the same way that other manufacturers have developed their models over the decades. But what they've done here with the Shotgun is bring the Royal Enfield Bullet concept right up to date, right up to the 21st century. And they've made a fantastic job of it. Each time I review a Royal Enfield motorcycle, I'm always impressed by the advances in quality, the premium feel that each successive model has. And in my opinion, despite this bike's diminutive price tag, once again, Royal Enfield have excelled. The beating heart of the new Shotgun 650 is Royal Enfield's award-winning bulletproof, bomb-proof, oil and air-cooled twin-cylinder 650cc motor, producing just under 50 brake horsepower at the crank. This easy to maintain engine is now finished in a super high gloss powder coat that really sets it off. The engine is completely blacked out apart from one or two minor details, and although I'm not usually a fan of blacked out engines, this looks the biz. It's cradled inside a very bullet-like chassis, again painted or powder coated, but this time in a matte anthracite, complete with Royal Enfield's traditional bullet rear shock hangers. Similarly to the shotgun's sister, the Super Meteor, Royal Enfield have used what appear to be a very untraditional shower upside down front forks. And my personal experience of these particular front forks on the Super Meteor 650 is that they're the best front end suspension Royal Enfield has ever used. And although this might seem like a departure from a bullet concept, actually, aesthetically, they are very much in keeping with the traditional bullet shrouded front fork system. The trademark, if you like, component of the Royal Enfield bullet has always been the headlamp nacelle, or casket as Royal Enfield named it at the time. I think it was first introduced in the 1949 version of the bullet, a precision die-cast aluminium piece that instantly tells the observer that this bike is a bullet, nothing else. I remember a conversation with Mark Wells, the chief design engineer at Royal Enfield, about 2 years ago when we were discussing the Scram 411, where he mooted that the die-cast headlamp shroud or casket on the Scram was actually a nod to Royal Enfield's past to the bullet, that he and his design team had sort of designed it as an experiment to see what the casket would have become if it had been allowed to develop over the years. He seemed particularly proud of it, but I think that was just a practice run, because the casket on the Shotgun 650 is 100% die-cast aluminium, a very hefty piece of engineering, integrated into a complementary steering yoke configuration that brings the casket right into the 21st century. This aluminium casket is a work of art. The cockpit and steering on the Shotgun 650 has that premium feel with high quality barrel grips bearing the Royal Enfield name, and of course their new-ish premium die-cast switchgear, once again afforded that luxury feel with a high gloss powder coating. Again, with the Shotgun 650, Royal Enfield have done away with their old master cylinder and lever assemblies and upgraded them with the new ones. The very comprehensive instrument module looks like it's been carried over from the Super Meteor, complete with tripper, and the more I looked around this bike, the more I wondered how they were managing to do it for this price. Even the super glossy fuel cap just oozes quality. The seating arrangement is a very familiar rider saddle and separate pillion pad, something we're used to seeing on the classic models. From what I could see, the rear pillion pad assembly can be removed just by unfastening 4 bolts, but it has a trick up its sleeve. A trick so cunning that, in my opinion, you could brush your teeth with it. You see, if you don't want the pillion pad, you want to ride solo, but you don't want the faffing about of removing the whole assembly, you can just unlock the pillion pad with your ignition key, revealing a very serviceable luggage rack underneath. And you can remove it, or refit it, quicker than you could say anti-disestablishmentarianism. The pillion rider is equipped with a very sturdy and generous pair of grab rails, And the left hand one obviously also doubles up as a lifting handle for getting it up onto the, as standard, centre stand. Now, of course, the Bullet and the classic models have been famous for the fact they're an all-metal motorcycle. The shotgun is no different. The rear mudguard, the side panels, fuel tank, and as we've already discussed, the casket, along with the front mudguard, are all metal components. The left-hand side panel incorporates a little keyhole. Put the ignition key in it and turn. And the metal side panel opens up to reveal not only a very comprehensive toolkit, which you won't need because it's a Royal Enfield, but also a sealed USB port, so you can charge your cell phone up on the go. In the same compartment you've also got the intake for your air filter and your fuse box. I'm presuming that the right hand side panel is just a pull-off type because there is no keyhole, and I would presume that that holds the battery, although I've got to admit I've not actually checked it out. I was just way too excited and I forgot. I really like onboard toolkits. A lot of manufacturers don't bother with them anymore. Royal Enfield do, and that ensures that you've got all the necessary tools to do routine maintenance, just minor adjustments on the bike. In fact, in this toolkit you've almost got enough to do a full service. And this appears to be the exact same toolkit that you get with the Super Meteor. The days of mediocre paintwork on Royal Enfield motorcycles are a thing of the past. The paintwork is glass smooth, and Royal Enfield have used decals for the various graphics on the bikes, but they have been lacquered over with a clear lacquer, so there's no worry about these peeling away or coming off. It's an additional stage in the manufacturing process that some manufacturers don't bother with anymore. It's nice to see that Royal Enfield are continuing to ensure that you've got maximum longevity in the paintwork on your motorcycle. As far as I can tell, all lighting is LED, although I will confirm that in a later video. I'm not a great fan of black matte painted exhausts on any motorcycle. I suppose it would look silly if they did it any other way on this bike, but in keeping with the Royal Enfield Bullet strategy, if you like, these are pea shooters, or at least a pea shooter style, double skinned. I'm not really sure what else they could have done with them really, but at least they've kept them reasonably horizontal so they won't interfere with any luggage. This bike is not a modern classic, so obviously in this case the alloy wheels look right. The usual B-brake discs and calipers, front and rear, that give quite good stopping power if I remember rightly from the Super Meteor, and the bike has been shod with a set of Seats, which I've found to be very good tyres. They've even colour-coded the braided hoses for the oil cooler, which I think is a nice touch. As you know, whenever I review a motorcycle, I never watch anyone else's reviews because I don't want my thoughts to be influenced by someone else's. But I have had a look at some of the headlines, which has made me chuckle a little bit as people try to pigeonhole this motorcycle. They're trying to work out what it is. It's a sports bike, it's a bobber, it's this or it's that. The thing is, this is based on the original Bullet, and the original Bullet was a sporty family hack used for commuting, touring, whatever you needed it to do. I'm pretty certain, even at this stage, that the shotgun is intended to be a good-looking, sweet-handling, general-purpose bike built to do whatever it is you need to do on it. It was never intended or designed to fit into a particular label that internet reviews like to put on things. The shotgun goes way beyond any of that. It's its father's son. Once again, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I'm still getting messages from people telling me that they keep getting unsubscribed from this channel on a weekly basis. I've got no idea what's going on, but if you are a subscriber, ensure that your subscription is still enabled, and so are your notifications. That way YouTube should theoretically let you know when I release further videos on this bike over the next week or so. You can also, if you wish, assist this channel in other ways via the Patreon page or the Super Thanks button down below. Either way is much appreciated. I am of course going to be back next week, so until then please ride safely and I'll see you soon.